Wow.
He wins.
I would never
One for one.
Retired. That you can't ask him that. He's same draft class. That's too easy.
He's
White Clark was his wide receiver. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Well, good job.
Christopher, you're not the only one that can answer a question, right?
Oh, yeah, baby. You know it. Chris Simms, Paul Burmeister, Chris Simms Unbuttoned. What's up, buddy? How you doing? Did you try to dress like me today? Did you see my shirt on TV?
I don't know.
That looks good. Let me do that.
If I'm morphing into you on Wednesdays, I have watched you in the morning sometimes. You're like, okay, note to self, don't wear the black. Don't do that. I didn't see you this morning.
Okay, fine.
Excellent.
I'll let you have a free pass.
Yeah.
Well, we were thinking alike then. That's
there you
okay.
go.
That's good.
It was nice to hear Big Phil's voice. He's coming on again.
We're going to have Big Phil on in about 30 minutes. I think we're going to have some quarterback talk today. We got a good pod today.
I like it a lot.
Yep, we're going to do a little Buffalo-Seattle breakdown.
Yep.
You know, we're going to hit Cam Newton. We're going to hit Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
NBC wants me to unveil a new top 10 quarterbacks list, right?
As do Pete and I as well.
Yes. Pete, yes, you do.
Yes.
So we're going to kind of have that conversation organically today.
We're teasing it.
We're going to tease it because I'm going to do it next week and make it for real, but I'm going to give the names today that I think are in the running for that top 10. And we'll discuss it a little bit.
Yes.
I think it could be interesting, a good exercise. People weigh in on that, too, hopefully on social media.
People love that or hate it.
Right.
Either way, it's good.
And we'll get Big Phil in there, too. I mean, Big Phil knows we're going to have that conversation. I have no idea what he'll say. He might think I'm crazy with some of these thoughts, whatever. So we'll see where we go. I doubt he'll think I'm crazy, though.
I would imagine he'll have one or two. He'll be listening in like before he actually comes on. He'll have one or two things that we just let him go on.
Yeah,
right?
We know that. We know. We always got to let him go.
And Quarterback Jeopardy, a special version with a little respect to Alex Trebek.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. I mean, R.I.P. Alex Trebek. I mean, that kind of, I knew he was sick, but man, it was like out of nowhere all of a sudden. I didn't know it had gotten to that point, so that stinks.
Yep, 37 years of doing that. Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
I did too. R.I.P. So that'll we'll have some fun paying respect to that with a Steelers-based Quarterback Jeopardy coming up.
Steelers-based.
Only unbeaten team.
Okay, so that's where we're going to go today.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. That's a good, lets me just at least put some names in my head a little,
Let it sink in a little bit.
I need it.
Terry Bradshaw is not involved with any of the correct answers, though, just so you know.
Is that right?
Yeah, that would have been too easy.
Can you give me a Pittsburgh trivia and not give me Terry Bradshaw?
Too easy.
All right, fine.
Too easy, yeah.
All right.
Okay. So
let's go.
We've got Seattle and Buffalo first.
Yeah.
And I think this is a pretty good way to start because if you're familiar with the game, Josh Allen made it look easy against that Seahawks defense.
Yes, he did.
There's a lot of questions raised about the Seahawks defense, even though they'd struggled a lot, about what the hell was going on that Sunday. Why did it look so easy?
Right.
Especially with the passing game. Here's what Pete Carroll had to say afterward.
You know, we didn't expect that to happen. We didn't think they would just totally abandon the running game, and we had a real nice plan if they were going to run it. We have to be able to adapt better to make sure that we can turn it around faster. You know.
And they didn't turn it around. It was 4-1 pass to run for the Bills offense. I guess if they would have run more, Seahawks defense would have looked better. What did you see?
Well, I mean, yeah, maybe. I mean, you know, that's what the Seattle does, and you know, maybe they're abusing it too much to this point. Listen, I always respect Seattle's aggressive nature and the things they do and all of that, but I think they've crossed the barrier of where I go aggressive. And now we're being aggressively stupid. That's where I think it's a little bit of a fine line here that we got to watch out. Now, the thing I'm still shocked by that comment, you know, I think he was just shocked that because he's an old school coach, and I think more he's just going, I'm surprised there wasn't a little more balance. I don't think he expected them to run a lot, but I think he was shocked that they basically just said, screw the run game. We're going to throw it just about every play.
Yeah.
And, you know, what I would say to Pete is like, hey, Buffalo's run game stinks. Why would they want to Why would they want to run the ball against you guys? And that's really the marquee thing your defense does, which is crowd the line of scrimmage and stop the run. And, you know, even with Buffalo, I think it's like the 21st ranked rush offense in football. It's not really that. It's that because Josh Allen can run and do things like that.
Yeah.
So it's a misleading stat. It's really, if they don't have Josh Allen, it's a rushing team that's down towards 28, 29, 30 in football that way. And, of course, they got weapons. So why the hell would they run the ball into 8-man fronts all game long?
Exactly. It's one thing for the Seahawks defense to, for whatever reason, to think they might come out running more.
Right.
At some point, you have to recognize what's going on. There was a point early in the game, it was 23 passes to only 2 runs. So why not recognize that and switch up what you're doing?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, I don't know. It kind of went into like 3 phases of the game. I think they panicked a little too early in the football game, first off. Now, we'll get into Seattle's offense, and, hey, they put the defense in some tough spots, too, because they couldn't quite get going early either. But I think really Seattle started the game not being overly aggressive. I've sat there and filmed and I went, oh, okay. And I think there was a few passes on those first 2 drives where Allen got back there and he just sat there like flat-footed and nobody got near him. And he kind of picked them apart.
Yeah.
And I think that after that they panicked and they said, whoa, we can't let him sit there all day like that. But then they panicked and went overboard to where it got to a phase of the football game at one point. And I just wrote, they've given up on zone and 4-man rushes. It's playing man-to-man almost every play and blitzing almost every play. And I wrote, it's embarrassing. It's 8 and 12 and 15-yard completions every time he drops back to pass.
And receivers running, just by themselves.
By themselves.
I wrote down twice, is this a prevent defense? I wrote down once, are they only playing with 9 guys? Where's everybody else?
They have nobody that can play man-to-man. And then when you're blitzing 5 and 6 people at the line of scrimmage, there's huge holes in the back end. Buffalo had a good plan as far as how to slow up some of those, blitz looks. And then, of course, he's great at kind of avoiding a blitzer or being like Mahomes and kind of fading away from the blitzer pressure and then throwing the ball. So, you're right. And once they got into that rhythm there, where they went, oh, my gosh, it's the same defense every play. It's blitz, it's man-to-man. They hit wide open little shallow crossers. Yes. And then he just went a few times, wait, my guy Diggs is better than you on the outside, and we're going to play one-on-one, and bam, I'll hit it.
And with nobody underneath.
Nobody.
Soft corners,
nobody.
10 yards off, and nobody underneath to take away that 10, 15-yard out route.
No, and finally, after being basically beat into submission, there in the third quarter, when they got up like 27-10, Seattle adjusted. And this is to me where I would be like, hey, please, Seattle, because I root for you guys. I respect what they do out there. Let's play this element a little. They got back into the football game because they started to go, let's play coverage. Let's change coverages a little bit. Let's just rush for. Pete, I don't know if you could sit there on the fly and look up. I know you saw my some of my notes, but I would bet you sacks.
7 sacks.
I bet you it was close to whether it was the 4-man rush or the blitz. I bet you it was maybe blitz got him 4 or 3 times.
Say that one more time, Pete.
Because I'd be
3 times with the blitz, 4 times with
Oh, Chris is right. Yes.
Yeah.
That to me, so that proves to you that the blitz wasn't that special.
Yeah.
You're getting almost the same pressure with less people rushing and more people in coverage. And at some point you have to evaluate that and go, you know what? We're not really helping ourselves in this situation. And I think, that's where they made a big change in the football game.
And they blitzed them at the end of the game.
But then it went back.
But 58% of the time. By the time we got to the end, it was 58% blitz. And Josh Allen was 18 out of 23 for 255. That's better than 10 yards per attempt against your pressure.
Yeah. And I know, and that's why I just don't think they can live and play that style of football anymore. And they might be able to get away with that. Let's say in certain matchups, the 49ers the week before, not that type of weaponry at receiver, not a drop-back pass offense. They want to run football and do that. Okay, then that game plan's okay. But we've seen when teams can throw it all on them, you can't do that. They got to figure out other ways with some different coverages and things like that. And they did that for a period of time, Paul. And that's what helped them get back into the game at 27-20 and all of that. And then it went to 34-20. And they played that style still with no blitzes, let's coverage. But Buffalo went down and scored a touchdown. But it was work. It was a 9-play, 82-yard drive. It wasn't easy like all the other drives were all that game.
Right.
But for some reason after that drive, now it's 34-20, Seattle got back to they got down. And I think they just panicked a little bit from there to where he was moving the ball. And then it got down into the 3rd and 15 where he hits John Brown on the screen pass. That's where they panicked. They got on those 2 plays and they went, oh, they're getting too close. They're kind of moving it.
Yeah.
And we got to do something right now.
And then they rushed 8 or
they
7?
Rushed 8 or 7.
I couldn't tell.
I think it was 7.
It was a bunch.
Well, yeah, and it was 4 one-on-ones.
Yeah.
And within that, the corner on that side is playing 15 yards off.
Yeah.
And Seattle's so aggressive up front and quarterback, we got to get the quarterback. They have no discipline when it comes to that stuff at times. So they're flying upfield. Let's get Josh Allen. And the linemen are letting them go. And now he has a convoy to lead him up to the field. But I just didn't understand maybe that panic at that part of the football game. It's I know 30. It's 27-20 at this point in this part of the game. You go to 30-20.
Yep.
You're still in it.
Right there.
34-20, you were still in it. I understand, but I just feel like they let them off the hook there where they were getting a little momentum. Carlos Dunlap showed up a lot during the game.
Yep.
Jerron Reed got some pressure. Puna Ford. They did okay.
What difference did Jamal Adams make that you saw?
Difference to Jamal Adams, it wasn't his best day, but you feel Jamal Adams' presence all over the field, especially on the second level. They do. Now, he had some mistakes in the game. He did. The first touchdown of the game, it's the deep cross to Isaiah McKenzie. It's totally Jamal Adams' fault. It's cover 3 Seattle defense. He's responsible for that inside third guy of that deep cross. He has to carry him. It's one of the flaws of the Seattle defense. They ran a play basically testing if he knew he was going to do that. So everybody bear with me at home here, but it's 3 receivers to his right. And when it's 3 receivers to the right, that inside guy runs like a deep cross, right? The middle guy just runs a straight seam, and then the outside guy just runs a go. Those are the 3 vertical concepts. On the backside, they ran a little 10-yard curl, and they put a guy into the flat. It's that 3-match zone. Now, he's the weak side 3 safety. So that curl kind of came into his vision, and Josh Allen really sold it and looked over there.
Did.
And he bit the hook. Yeah. Instead of looking at his rules and going, wait, I have to be worried about number 3 on the other side in case he comes my way. I'm responsible. And Allen, he played that curl flat concept, but I think once he saw, oh, wait, the curl should be open. Coach told me all week, though, if it's not open, it's because Adams is in the wrong place, and then he looks deep, wide open. So there was that issue. There's, of course, the issue of the pass interference late in the game when he sticks his leg out. Listen, I thought that was pass interference. But where I want everybody to realize, again, here, too, don't jump on Adams. Jamal Adams gets asked to do things, again, that no safety in football gets asked to do. None of it.
Like playing the run and the pass?
Playing the run, the pass, man-to-man coverage. You got to cover this guy. He's covering Stephon Diggs a few times during the game.
Right.
That should not happen. That should not happen. No really good defense would put their strong safety on Stephon Diggs and have him go, hey, we need you to cover him one-on-one. We're blitzing here. And you need to cover him kind of like 20, 25 yards down the field. Yeah. That's not fair to do to him. He's really talented. It's going to be negative PFF grades and all those type of things. But it's, again, the context is he's being asked to do things that nobody else would do.
So between backing off how much aggressive man they play and using Jamal Adams in a way that would make his talents look the best, what should they do next week and the weeks after differently that they didn't do on Sunday?
I just think they have to be a little bit more selective of when they want to go crazy and blitz. It can't just be like, we're going to be aggressive and blitz and blitz and blitz and blitz and blitz. Man, that's
was that more than they had shown in the weeks before?
I think it was more, especially in like certain pass looks and pass downs where you went, wait, there's no threat. We've already seen they're not going to run it. Mm-hmm. Why are we still at the line of scrimmage acting like it's 3rd and 3 for the ball game here and we're going to blitz everybody and do those type of things? So that's where I just think it went a little bit into crazyville last week. And with the addition to Dunlap and Jamal Adams being back, and they did a few things, when they did drop into zone coverage, and I went, that's a cool way to run that and do that to where, again, I know they're not going to be a great defense. They just got to find the right balance of, when do we call these zones? Do we have a beat on this personnel in formation to where we can call zone and play coverage? And then do we have a beat on this personnel in formation to where now it's time to blitz and be aggressive that way? They're not going to be perfect. I understand that. But like we've always been saying, we just want them to go from 32 into like the mid to the lower 20s, and it'll make their defense and team, markedly better.
Buffalo went 4 wide quite a bit.
Yeah.
And Stephon Diggs leads it. I mean, he's been targeted more than any receiver in the NFL.
Right.
But 1 through 4, I mean, Seattle looked really bad defending the pass.
Yeah.
Buffalo 1 through 4, in addition to how well Josh Allen played.
Right.
I mean, that's a tough wide receiver group to cover man-to-man. And to expect any defensive back group to stick with those guys, over half of the time in man, that's a tough call.
No, it is. And especially that team, they don't have enough corners to go around.
Right.
And that goes back to why the issue is like they have to play Jamal Adams on guys sometimes where you go, no, he shouldn't be covering this human being at any point. That is not fair. And yeah, there's not enough corners on their roster, and that's a tough ask. And, you know, you say what you want. It's a good offensive coordinator who's got some creativity, and Josh Allen's amazing. I know he lost 2 games in the last month, and we all got to talk about it still, but he's 7-2, and he's still amazing and throwing at 68%. And everybody needs to back off his back a little bit. Yeah, I know they went through a tough point. They played some good teams. They went 2-2.
They went 2-2.
I know, but people talk about it like they went on a 4-game losing streak, and he threw 7-6 picks, pick sixes, excuse me. And I just would sit there and just go, it's bullcrap. It really is. I mean, Josh Allen is playing as good as anybody in football.
Right.
And he's thrown less egregious interceptions than Tom Brady this year. It's not even close.
Or the other guy on the other side of the field.
Or Russell Wilson, right, who's had 2 games where he lost the game, or at least put them in a really tough spot because of his carelessness. But I understand they built up a track record, those other guys. I just still think like Josh Allen doesn't get the respect he deserves.
If that was his worst, and he did cool down a little bit after the first 4 games he was so hot.
Yeah,
but that stretch of 4 games where he threw a couple more interceptions and they went 2-2, if that's his worst stretch of the season, Buffalo fans should be thrilled.
No doubt. Exactly right. And that's what I've tried to say that on the show and even here on the podcast lately. Tennessee and Kansas City are pretty good teams. Yeah. They didn't lose the game because of him. I mean, he keeps them in the game. Yeah, the Jets game was lackluster. That Jets defense, is not horrible, though. And then they had to play the Patriots the week after that.
Right.
And that defense can really cover the pass and do that thing. So, either way, we talked about it. We hit it. I think we hit everything that's important there. But Seattle, I think the bottom line just has to reassess how they're playing on that side of the ball.
I would say so. All right, Russell Wilson. We talked about him just a little bit. Let's go full into the Seahawks offense now. I think a good place to start is that 55-yard touchdown to David Moore.
Yeah, well, I mean.
Incredible.
Incredible.
It went 64.5 yards in the air.
Right. 64.5. I mean, I think the first thing to jump off to me there more than anything is he's running towards the line of scrimmage. It's not like he, Aaron Rodgers got momentum going and then sat up, and got set to throw the ball and then launched it. He did it on the run. Just running, I'm running. Oh, wait, he's open. Let me just turn and throw it. And I don't ever set up or put my feet in the ground to drive off of it. I'm amazed by the strength in his arm at times. I really am. And if you're watching on YouTube here, you could see. There he is, pressure. Oh, magic. Boom. Way down the field. Now, Kristen, can you rewind that back one more time? This is the real issue of the play here, just to break this down. So, go right. Yeah, go. This is perfect. When you go a little farther, Kristen, let it play for a minute. I'm going to tell it to pause here at 1 second. Get ready to pause. Let's pause right now. Now, the deep safety on the right. That's Tre'Davious White. He was at corner, and he went back there to play the safety. This is what we would call 2 invert. The weak side safety is now playing corner over there. Does that make sense? You got me there?
Yeah.
The biggest issue here is Tre'Davious White, who's not used to playing safety in the NFL.
Right.
But he has no business being where he is, worried about the guy going down the middle. It's Tampa 2, and as everybody knows, Tampa 2, the middle linebacker has down the middle. So you don't have to be responsible for that area. He got a little nosy there and just left David Moore wide open, and yeah, that was a big-time throw to where literally in my notes I wrote, this game's over. And then they scored in 4 seconds, and I went, well, I guess it's not. I forgot they scored so quickly. And, just Russell Wilson being amazing.
Okay, so 64.5 yards in the air, longest completed pass over the last 4 seasons when you just look at air distance.
That's amazing.
That's the good. And I thought there was more good than bad with Wilson on Sunday.
Right.
However, small little pattern developing 2 of the last 3 weeks. If he throws more than 1 pick, his team loses. And I saw some familiarity with that first pick in the end zone with what we saw against Arizona. Kind of careless at a really bad moment.
Right. Well, let's talk about the first thing you said, right off the bat. The game is on him every week.
I know.
So if he struggles at all, a little like Buffalo, if Josh Allen doesn't play great, all of a sudden it doesn't matter who it is, we're in a game. Or if the offense isn't just clicking, we're in a game.
Because your defense gives up 35 points a game.
It's all predicated on the quarterback having to make the plays and make it go and put the pressure on them. And we need you to put the pressure on them to help our own defense out and do all those things. The 4th down play in the end zone, yeah, it's unfortunate. He does have to force the issue a little bit because it's fourth down, right?
Yep.
And Buffalo did a great job of covering the original play. They really did. There was nobody open. At least I didn't think so. Did you?
No.
Right?
Nobody open.
And then the other aspect of the play that was great is Jerry Hughes does a great job of not letting him get outside to where now he can attack the goal line. And that's usually how he gets people open. Oh, I'm running towards the goal line. Are you going to come tackle me? Oh, you are? I'm going to throw it. Oh, you're going to stay there and cover? I'm going to run it for a touchdown. That's where he gets great. Hughes does a great job. And then he does see somebody open in the back of the end zone. But Jordan Poyer, he did this to Brady last year early in the regular season. Same type of play where, yeah, he's underneath, but he realizes he's covered, and he's just reading the eyes. And once he saw Wilson was no longer looking at the fullback or the running back in the flat, he kind of just went, oh, I see his eyes going over here. Let me just float back. He intercepts it. And, yeah, that was a big moment of the football game because they had a chance to make it a little bit more competitive early on. Instead of what did they end up doing after that drive? They ended up kicking a field goal, Buffalo, to go up 17-0, I believe, right?
Yeah. But it feels like, and I know that we like to focus on the big plays and the big themes of certain games that we just saw on Sunday.
Yeah.
But if I could pull out just a little bit and zoom out, it feels like a pattern halfway through the season where Russell Wilson's going to be the MVP.
Yeah.
But there's zero margin for error with the defense giving up in the mid-30s. If he doesn't have an A every game, pull a rabbit out of the hat in the fourth quarter, are they going to lose in December and January?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, unless that, the other thing that saves them at times is they do have some guys who make plays on defense that help out, but they'll have to rely on that, and that's risky, as we know, because we don't know if their defense can consistently do that.
It would. I think the best thing for that team is if they had some close games where Russell Wilson was average, but they won. Like the Steelers could get away with Ben Roethlisberger being.
You're right.
Had an off day.
They've proved it.
Looks like the Saints could win if Drew's a little bit off.
Sure.
He certainly wasn't off Sunday, but I think you get the point. I'm not even close to saying that about Seattle.
No, absolutely not. We're with Russell Wilson. He's in Aaron Rodgersville for Aaron Rodgers the last 10 years.
Very similar.
It's just like, hey, if he doesn't play awesome, I mean, then we're in trouble as a team. If he does, then we can almost beat anybody.
Right.
That's really what it comes down to. And yeah, it's unfortunate that way. It's a lot, and he's going to have games like this because of that. It is. When you have to be the guy that carries everybody and the driving force of the football team, yeah, he's going to toe the line of playing a little dangerously every now and then or having to take a chance, and it came back to bite him in the butt. But here's the biggest thing I want to say about what I thought was interesting. First off, Buffalo's defense was better in this football game.
How so?
Well, and it's not that it's statistically going to show because Russell's threw for 390 and everything like that. But, hey, the turnovers, I think the defensive scheme itself was less predictable. If you gave me a crystal ball, I'd go, I think Sean McDermott really got involved in defensive game planning last week. I do.
What'd you see?
I just saw them do some coverages and some, blitz zones that were four-man rushes that looked like blitzes. And, yes, some were actual blitz zones where they did bring 5 or 6. But, back to the old motto of there was some plays and some formations where McDermott had everybody dropping in the right area, where you just go, ooh, he had a beat on some of their formations. I don't know if he hasn't been involved in their defense. I know they were injured, and that probably made them play a little bit more vanilla too. They got some more of their defensive linemen back. That's good. Edmonds is feeling healthy. I think that helps them. But here's the interesting thing. There was a tale of two games here with the defense. The first half was all about exotic zones and four-man rushes that maybe looked like what I call blitz change, right? Where I always talk about one guy blitzes, one guy drops. It still ends up being a four-man rush.
It's more about deception than
right,
being aggressive.
Exactly right. It's more about that, right? The deception gets the guy free, even though it's four-man, and then you have those people in coverage. And so they did that a lot. And I think that threw off Seattle in the first half. I think they were like, wait, they didn't play like this against anybody all year. And they even went to the well on some of the runs that Kansas City and the Rams gashed Buffalo with. But because they played a little different on that side of the ball, those runs weren't game plan there to be had, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But then the second half, and I don't know why, and I want your opinion on this. They played a different style of football. It's like they knew, they were like, we played coverage that half, we did all this. They're going to go in and adjust and have a game plan for coverage. And now in the second half, they came out and blitzed and played pressure.
Right.
And that's what they did. And I don't know why they did it.
Do you think it was something they saw in the first half, or maybe all week they're like, we're going to do this hard in the first half, second half we're coming out completely different?
I think it was a preordained plan. I do. I'll just read my notes verbatim. I wrote, man, second half, they're living dangerously with blitzing, but it's paying off. And, they had good blitzes on a third down to force a field goal to make it 27-20. But I wrote, why do it? And because I was just thinking out loud, like, why do it? Why would you blitz? And then I just was sitting there, and why is it? Is it to stop Russell from scrambling? Because if you just rush four and you don't have great rushers, how many times have we seen Russell Wilson, okay, they're rushing four, they're playing zone, I'm just going to start taking over, and I'm going to buy time. And then slowly he wears out your front four because they're chasing him around for 2 quarters in the second half. And then, it comes down to the end, the last drive of the game, and you're exhausted, you can't rush the passer, and all of a sudden it's like boom, 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 oh, hey, look, he's picking you apart.
Yeah, it seems like you would have a much better chance of getting the better of him, not with the blitz, because he's so nifty and nimble and great feel, makes those rushers miss all the time. Drop more and see if you can bait him into taking a risky throw.
I know. And there is that element of it. But I think he's gotten to a point, too, where if you do that consistently too much, he'll be patient and manipulate the zone coverage. So I found that very interesting, where Buffalo first half, it was coverages, it was fake 4-man blitzes, guy go, guy drop back, play zones, do all that. And in the second half, they came out with a totally different game plan. And I think that caught them by surprise. And he wasn't able to run around and make the magic, if you really think about it.
Yeah.
He got he got the strip sack fumble to start the second half, right? Which was a blitz. And then, had a blitz on the other strip sack fumble. Now, that should have been picked up by the right tackle. He messed it up. But those were 2 plays where McDermott's going to go, I forced the issue. I didn't let him wear us out by scrambling and running around. And they won the game. And I think it was cool to see.
But unlike Seattle, he picked and chose his spots.
Yes.
Didn't do it the entire time.
Exactly right. He picked and chose his spots.
Yeah.
He really did. It wasn't like, I'm scared and now we're going to blitz 30 plays in a row and let them get in a groove with what their blitz offense is.
Yeah.
He never did that. Yeah, even with that, it was, okay, more pressure. Okay, but you have to throw here. We're not going to be stupid and pressure here. We'll drop in zone. Right. Or it's the long third down when he throws the interception. It's deep Tampa 2. He went, okay, I got pressure on the first 2 downs.
Yeah.
I put him in a bad spot. I'm not going to do it again now so he can throw it up to DK Metcalf. It's Tampa 2 again. He thinks he's got DK Metcalf. Tre'Davious White intercepts it. And, that was pretty much it after that.
And kudos, you conjugated the verb better than I did there with the picked and choose or picked and chose. So that's a win for you. I want to bring in your dad. I understand Big Phil's on. Big Phil, you there?
Paul, I am here. Listen to you guys. It's so interesting. I am just now starting to watch the Buffalo Bills and Seattle Seahawks. So I stole a lot there, and we'll see if I'm going to see if my son's right or not.
Yep. Yeah.
But you know what? Just your overall view really sounds really great. In other words, one thing I love, just to get in, I'll make it fast.
Yeah.
As I watch games, I love the blitz 4-man rush.
Right.
I don't like it. I love it.
Right.
And I'm seeing more and more of it, and it is really confusing. And, of course, offensive linemen are going to go, oh, he dropped out. Where's the other guy coming from?
Right.
It's a rage right now, I think, in the NFL.
Agreed.
I even saw the Giants doing it quite a bit against Washington. They had great success. And then it's kind of like what you said. Then all of a sudden, well, the game's going their way, and they got away from it. And they really kind of let the Washington football team get back into it. So, I can't wait to kind of watch this game and get through it and see. I want to see Buffalo's offense.
Right.
Why were they just playing that safe at the corners where
that's what
he
I
threw
said,
to the
Phil.
sidelines and go ahead. What's that?
It looked like they were playing a prevent defense.
No, it's almost the opposite. It's they got into the first drive and a half. They panicked, Dad, because Buffalo moved the ball. Allen had pretty good pass protection, and then it's like Seattle panicked, and they went into we're going to blitz and play man-to-man every play. And he just started to tear them apart. And really what I told him is they started to have really success, I thought, and their sack numbers bared it out because I said it here and they looked it up on the fly to where they had 4 sacks with a 4-man rush. They had 3 sacks when they blitzed. You know,
Right.
they started to play some good coverages in that little lull in the third quarter where Buffalo couldn't quite get anything going and things. They started changing it up a little bit. But then Buffalo went on that drive one more time, and they panicked, and they got to that 3rd and 15, and they actually blitzed the play before that too. They panicked and they blitzed, and they just don't have the corners that can hold up in those situations.
Yeah, I mean, it's just as I watched the beginning. I've only seen a few plays of the offense. Is that wow, the corners were so far off,
yes.
And he's throwing the ball out there. He's not even throwing it hard. He's lobbing it.
Yeah.
And the receivers are catching it, turning, and then going, well, where do I go? I can't believe it. The corner's still not here. It's interesting. So I know Seattle's defense is still trying to, I don't know, I guess
find
still
their
trying
way
to figure out what they're going to do.
Yeah, that's right. They got to reassess. That's for sure. That's the one thing I've come to. They can't be just that aggressive. I understand to be that aggressive maybe against a run team, but when a team's got a quarterback, a system, and those weapons, I don't see how they can play that style of football ever again against a team like that.
And Phil, you're going to be amazed at how open guys are. You get further and further into this game, you're going to feel like, I could still get out there and do this. Answer me this question. It used to be, if a defense was going to play a soft corner, they at the very least ran somebody out there in the flat to deter the quarterback from throwing a 10-yard out or a 15-yard comeback. Time after time after time, there's soft corner and nobody underneath. How have we come to this?
Well, I don't know. Usually most offenses, anytime they're running some type of outcut on the outside, they're going to have somebody in that zone, inside shorter to make you decide which one are you going to cover. So I haven't gotten into it, but usually when I see sideline throws, there's always a hook or what do you would call it, stick routes or something, somebody crossing that's going to make the linebacker or whoever's in charge of getting underneath the outcut. Getting underneath the outcut, that's a great thought. But by and large, most of the time, no team really gets under it enough. If the quarterback's a good sideline thrower, he's still going to pick it apart.
No doubt. And the other thing that, too, like you'll see with Josh Allen and the teams that are good at throwing the ball to the sideline, too, is they'll be in the shotgun. The back's next to them. They do the little play-action shotgun fake, and that guy that's supposed to be underneath that out route, he's got to respect it for a second because he's responsible for a run gap.
Right.
And then he's not there to do that either. So
two things. I have questions. Two things. It looks like Josh Allen has really made an effort not to throw the football as hard.
No, I agree. He got into that throwing it way too hard in the Tennessee-Kansas City games. He's gotten back into groove again. Yeah,
and I almost want to go, I'm sorry. I almost want to go, it's almost sometimes I go, man, go ahead and let it go a little more. They made some good catches on some wide open throws because he was trying to be too careful with it, and then they were reaching down. They did make, that's one thing. They're throwing the ball a lot, and what happens when you keep throwing it? Wide receivers, they get better at catching, running, routes, all that, the feel, and your offensive line usually continues to get better protecting. Greatest example probably in the NFL is the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
a good one.
My question to you is, here we go, because I'm really interested in watching the Buffalo Bills defense.
Yep.
What will they do this week? What's their game plan trying to play against Kyler Murray?
Yeah, they're playing in Arizona. That's right.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I don't know, but you're going to like their game plan, what they did to Seattle. You're going to like it. It's different than anything they did in Buffalo all year long.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, you know what? That's great. It gives you not that I lost hope in Buffalo. I just going, well, they're going to have a good year, but they cannot win. They're just not going to be able to go on a playoff run just because I thought their defense, the pass rush, the coverage, whatever. I just thought the defense has just really slipped a little this year, and they just can't rely just strictly on Josh Allen throwing the football and win games in a shootout.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting against Kyler Murray. What you do, you said it to me because I haven't watched that film either yet, but I, of course, watched the game, is that Kyler Murray, they put in run plays for him more this past week.
Definitely.
And, man, did they work. I mean, it was like right out of the book, and he made some big runs, whatever. So, I'm as interested in that game as any game probably. There's always a lot of good ones. But Buffalo against Arizona is going to be an interesting watch. The talent, but also what does each coach do to try to, combat the other one.
Yeah, that will be.
Let's take a look here, as long as we're talking about Josh Allen and the Bills offense here, Phil. We like to have fun with some odds. These are provided by our partners at PointsBet Sportsbook. Josh Allen, after this weekend playing so well in that win over Seattle, 18-1 odds to win the MVP. Bills are 18-1 odds to win the Super Bowl. Which one of those, Phil, do you think is the better bet?
Neither.
that's the wise choice. I have the same thought.
I mean, really, listen, no matter what, he's not going to win the MVP. Two reasons. Russell Wilson, we're going to the narrative is so great that he's going to have to really mess this up. Now, he's putting up these turnovers in these last 3 weeks but it's still not going to derail. He's never got the vote and this and that. But you look at Patrick Mahomes, ho-hum, let's just keep on rolling. And when it all comes down to it, if Patrick Mahomes keeps his pace up, then right now I would say he would be the favorite.
Wait, all right, so just off that, before you go to the next thing, because I want to talk about this, but within that too, Patrick Mahomes, ho-hum. What if it's still Aaron Rodgers continue? Aaron Rodgers only has one less touchdown and one more interception than Mahomes. Mahomes is 25-1. Rodgers is 24-2.
Right.
Crazy.
Well, okay. I think a lot's going to come down.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's going to come down to the team's record.
Right.
I think I looked at I know the Kansas City Chiefs has some tough games coming. I forgot what I wrote down yesterday about Green Bay's schedule or whatever. But winning games, and if it's close, people are going to give Patrick Mahomes the win or whatever.
Right.
And I got to be honest. I still am just not a big believer that the Green Bay Packers can go through this and succeed and go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
I feel that way, and I don't know when it's going to change, but it hasn't changed so far. And even the big, great game or whatever you want to say against the San Francisco 49ers, early in the game I'll go, my gosh, San Francisco is going to run them over.
Right.
And, of course, it turned, and the quarterback played for San Francisco. Unfortunately, Nick Mullins played the worst game probably of his entire life against Green Bay.
Yeah. Are you worried about that Green Bay defense? Is that why you can't quite get there to thinking they're going to be the team in a couple months?
Absolutely. 100%, 1,000%. Yes. It might be better than last year's, but I still just feel the same way about it.
Yeah,
and
right.
I'm really curious to watch how it comes down here at the end of the season. And we got so many teams are going to play each other twice here going down the last half of the season.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot's going to change. Let's put it this way. I'm still trying to figure out. I was looking at it because we did some stuff on Showtime about it. Can Minnesota find a way to get in the playoffs?
I think they can. If you look at their schedule, there's a shot. Yeah.
Yes, I know. So it's. Hey, can the Chicago Bears be 5-2 and actually not make it? Yes,
I don't think
very possible too.
That's definitely that offense. It's very doable. I mean,
right?
Well, listen, and that was disturbing too. I don't care. I know Tennessee had lost 2 and they're jacked up and all that, but let's be honest, still Tennessee's defense is not the upper tier of the NFL.
Nowhere
and for
near.
Chicago to play them and really do nothing. Not going to say nothing, but not have more success was. I'm not going to say it caught me by surprise. I actually think I picked Chicago to win that game. So it was a bad week of picking games last week for me, that's for sure.
For a lot of
the only good thing I did is I took the Jets and the points on Showtime. I did that.
Good.
So.
That's gutsy. Way to go. Good job with that.
Yes. Okay. So you got to get lucky once in a while.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Let's talk about it. I want to talk about this. I'm Chris Simms Johnny quarterback ranking. You know that, right? So I gotta.
Yes.
I'm gonna be doing my new top 10 just from what we've seen. This year through 10 weeks. It'll be next week.
Well,
right.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
When you do this,
Right.
when y'all do it, can you send me all your nice little Twitter things that are going to be sent to you?
Okay, I will. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I love it. You're an idiot. You're so stupid. Tom Brady's the best quarterback still in the NFL. Yes, go ahead.
Well, let's take a glance here, and Phil, I know you can't see it. We're gonna show here. There it is. Chris's top 40 quarterback countdown. We did this summer. It was a lot of fun. I think it was May, June, July. We kinda spread it out.
May through June, right.
And we've had some talk behind the scenes, Phil. Like, wouldn't it be fun because guys are playing better than they should or maybe not quite as well as they were supposed to kind of redo it? So next week we're going to have Chris redo the top 10. And we thought this week we'd bring up some of the names that maybe should be higher or should be lower.
Yeah.
Let's start with that top 10, Chris. Locks to stay in the top 10?
Well, all right, so
let's
let's say this first off. At number 8, we have Dak Prescott. He will not be a part of this exercise. We're going to cancel him out for now because he just hasn't been able to play enough. But in my top 10 there, and put that back up one more time, Kristen, so I could just read the graphic as we go here. The top 5, which are Mahomes, Wilson, Rodgers, Watson, and Jackson.
Yep.
Wait, Mahomes, Wilson,
Rodgers, Watson, and Lamar Jackson.
Staying the same?
They're still staying in my top 10. I don't know if they're all going to be top 5.
Okay.
They're definitely going to be in the top. I can tell you they're still locks.
Yep.
I'm going to put them in the top 10. There's no doubt. Now, the next 5, no. I'm not sure any of them will be in the top 10.
And that's Carson Wentz 6,
Right.
Matt Ryan 7, Dak Prescott, you just talked about why he won't be on there.
Yep.
8, Matt Stafford 9, and Cam Newton 10.
Yeah, well, I can tell you Cam Newton and Stafford and Carson Wentz will not be on there. They're not going to make the top 10. There's no way. Matt Ryan will be considered. Now, I put them on the list for being considered. And, Dad, I think I sent you a picture, right, of some of the names that I'm going. So right off the bat, when I just look at it.
But you didn't have them in order, so I don't think.
No, I didn't. They weren't in order. It was just I went, let me be very nice, and who are the names that I would go, they're at least in the conversation. I don't know if I would, but I'm going to give them, even if they're even close in the conversation, I wrote them down for the top 10.
Okay.
Now, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Tannehill, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Deshaun Jackson are the AFC team quarterbacks where I say
Deshaun Watson.
Did I say Sean Watson?
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson.
They're in the conversation.
Burrow and Herbert.
In the AFC for being in the top 10. Yeah, Burrow and Herbert. I don't give a damn if they're rookies or they're still wearing diapers. What they do on the field is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
did you say Kyler Murray in the top 10?
Well, now I'm going to go to the NFC. So the NFC, I didn't have Kyler Murray in the top 10 during the year. I made him number 11 last offseason. I had him just outside my top 10. But so the NFC quarterbacks that are now or at least in my mind, in the running, Wilson, Brady, Rodgers. I wrote Wentz down just, again, respectful there. Breeze, Kyler Murray. And I wrote Goff, Ryan, and Cousins, even though they're long shots for me. Just to say, like, they're in the conversation. I think there's coaches you could talk to in football who might go, Matt Ryan's the 10th best quarterback in football. So I tried to think of things like that.
Well, here's my thing when you do these lists. And it's so hard, and no matter what you do, you're going to be wrong in a lot of people's eyes. That's for sure. Are we talking about top 10, like who let's draft them and you get to pick one right now for the rest of his career? Is that the way we're looking at it, or we're just looking at it playing this season and who they are?
So this is about who they are through what we've seen. We're not getting into the past. And it's not about the future either.
Okay.
It's not.
It's about how they're playing this year.
Yes, okay, good. I think that's important.
Very. Now, I mean, here, and I know you got the list in front of me, Dad. You do, Dad, and there's no particular order, but I know I have 8 locks right off the bat. Now, this is no particular order. Patrick Mahomes is going to be number 1. This just in, everybody, okay?
Hey, what a shock.
Okay, but after that, Josh Allen's a lock for me. Lamar Jackson's a lock. Ryan Tannehill is a lock. Deshaun Watson is a lock. Russell Wilson is a lock. Rodgers is a lock. Aaron Rodgers and Kyler Murray are locks. There's 8 right there. They're a lock in the top 10 for me.
Why is Deshaun Watson a lock?
Deshaun Watson is still an amazing quarterback. Listen, his team has got issues. There's no, he's the leading rusher. I mean, makes all the plays happen for them. He is the only reason they're even worth watching highlights for on Sunday right now. And he's the only reason they beat crappy teams, and he's the only reason they're somewhat competitive against other teams. So, like I always say, when you're surrounded by shit, sometimes shit gets on your arm. And it's not always going to look perfect, okay? But, but he's still a top 10 quarterback for me. And there's no doubt about that. I mean, Go ahead, Dad.
I'm not going to disagree. Okay, you go ahead. You keep going. What else you got to say?
Well, those are my 8 locks, right? So Watson, Lamar, Tannehill, Allen, Mahomes, Wilson, Rodgers, Murray.
So that doesn't lead. So we still have Roethlisberger, Brady, Breeze, Herbert, Burrow. I mean, there's not enough room, obviously.
No, there's not enough room.
Yeah.
And that's where.
Well, I would say this. Yeah, there's not enough room. It's whatever. But just what I watch and what my eye tells me, that Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow
have to be on the list.
They're
top 10
they're in there.
quarterbacks. Yeah, I agree.
They're top 10.
I agree.
Both of them, Phil?
Yes. I know it's a short thing, but that's what I'm going on. And I haven't seen Justin Herbert, and I heard some moron on TV. Well, it's about winning. He's not winning. Oh, please take him off the air, because it's just so stupid. I mean, he's doing everything that. I guess you know what he needs to do? Get out to a 24-point lead. Then, by God, you can win a game, Justin. And he's going to have a rough week this week too, probably. So I would think, but his presence, his throwing, everything under pressure, moving, touch on the ball, they're all top of the line.
Yeah,
and he makes everything look so easy.
Yep.
He throws 15-yard, out cuts, and it's on a line, and I don't ever see him miss. I'm serious. When I watch, I go, God, has he just missed one pass?
No,
that guy was open and he missed it?
He's the rare rookie that he looks even better now than he did his senior year at Oregon.
Yeah.
I think you pointed it out quite a bit, Chris. I think, Phil, you said it as well. He wasn't in a great offense.
No.
They weren't getting guys that
but
open.
let's don't take that into account. People, I don't know. I don't want to get into all that. But in Oregon, it was a different offense. But if you really watch him, which I love, this is my job, and I love it on Saturdays. I get to watch all these games. But I just go, man, this guy is really good throwing the football.
Yeah.
And he made a lot of just very difficult throws look so easy. And then his movement, his motion, Paul, which you guys talk about.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's
flawless.
A machine.
Right. It is.
It's truly flawless.
Yeah.
And Bill Cowher, I guess I said this last week, just to say, he can throw over the top of people, of the defensive line that's in front of him. That's a rare thing that we don't see in the NFL. But go ahead.
I want to ask you this, but I mean, you're right. It is a rare thing. I mean, Herbert, just as the pure thrower, I mean, I agree with Dad. I mean, I was going to star Burrow and Herbert as locks, but I was like, wait, let me just let this ruminate in my brain a little bit. But Herbert has got into the class, and again, I'm not saying he's top quarterback in football or anything like that, but in the throwing conversation,
right there,
he is there with Mahomes and Rodgers and Josh Allen, and better than Matt Stafford right now, because Stafford loses control of the ball every now and then. Like Dad said, Herbert is unbelievable. Every throw, even a lot of the incompletions, you go, it was really on the money. It was just great coverage, or he deliberately put it a little out of reach to where his guy could get it or not.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a machine.
So I'm looking at your list here. Yeah. Carson Wentz is not going to be number 6.
No.
Is Herbert in consideration to be that high?
I don't know how high he is. This is where I'm glad we're talking this out, and I'm going to have all weekend to say about how I'm going to rank him. Right.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz is not going to be in the top 10.
No way.
Exactly.
No, I mean, it's too much.
It's too reckless.
He misses too many throws.
Yeah.
And, forget just the throwing alone would take him out of the top 10.
Right,
he makes a lot of great throws, and I talk about it all the time. And I even tweeted it, believe it or not.
Nice.
Playing the Giants. He made like 6, just like, are you kidding me? Just throws, just in between people, the power. But too many misses, high, low, whatever. That's what takes him down. And, of course, you said it too, Paul. It is – It's sometimes it's street ball +2.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how he can move around and do whatever he does, but it has not been a great year for him just playing the position.
Right.
Yeah,
no doubt. It was fun talking rookies, and I want to keep it going here with the Brady and Breeze. You said they're going to get consideration to be in the top 10.
Yeah.
Phil, if you had to put one in, and the conversation is not the future, it's about how they're playing right now, Brady and Breeze, who would be more likely to be in the top 10?
Well, that's a tough question, but you know why? Just because Sunday night is in my brain.
Yeah, right?
And, Drew Brees just, I believe this kind of stuff, Paul, and I don't know Christopher, what you think, but it's Tampa. Man, look, I played down at Tampa and Miami, and I just remember going, man, this is awesome.
I know.
And Christopher, you, of course, played there.
Yeah.
But throwing the football, it's amazing how good it feels to you down there instead of being, in a windy, dry, which really does change. But I thought Drew Brees physically, and the couple of throws over the top that had great touch, he had dealt those crossers, but even the short throws, physically he had more pep on the ball than I've seen all year.
Yeah.
It was, and I mean, he just looked like, I feel great, I got it, and his confidence, everything about him was the best I've seen this year by far from Drew Brees.
Yeah, I know. I mean, listen, Brady and Brees are still awesome. You know, I just, again, at this point of their career, it's more, you know, brain and system oriented.
Yep.
To where, yeah, they might be able to do some things, reading defenses and things that maybe Joe Burrow and Herbert and some of those other guys can't do. But I don't think it's too much to so much of the advantage that it makes up for, wait, when nothing's there, these guys do all this stuff and you guys can't do that.
Yes.
I think that's the difference, you know. You know, the difference we're giving Brady and Brees sometimes is because of the scheme and the talent around them, too. They're awesome. I don't want to take away from that. But these guys that we talked about, these are like, I mean, I really, almost all of them, and just go, you can put them in any system, in any situation, and they're going to kind of make it work right now. Right. And I don't think I could say that about
they're going to do their job plus.
Right.
And they might not win because we know so much is, you know, people don't just take it into account. And when you got to judge, just like college, this is why they misjudge quarterbacks. They judge, oh, well, he's a winner, and they did this, and his completion percentage on these throws. Right. I mean, come on. You know, it's such a difference. And, you know, that difference is in the NFL, too.
Yeah.
And, you know, some guys are just playing under conditions that are so much tougher and harder than other people. And, you know, we got to take that into account. But good example, Tom Brady, again, you know, with respect, you know, I covered him so many times, but he had pressure. The people were around him. Think about the Chicago game, the same thing.
Yep.
So some of those, that's where his lack of movement does get him in trouble sometimes.
It does.
And Drew Brees, my gosh, I don't know if I ever seen him get pressure in front of him. I've never seen anything like it.
I know. Well, they always have giant interior offensive linemen. They always have giants.
Right.
Somebody asked me about, I guess it was Ray Lewis yesterday, he said something about Drew Brees. I said, look, you got to understand, Sean Payton every week, he's got the game plans or whatever. I said, Sean Payton still thinks he's Drew Brees.
Right.
I would have made it if I could have designed the offense for me, and I would have played in the NFL.
Right.
I really, truly believe those things. I actually watched film, and I've said this to you before, of Sean Payton playing over in Europe on some team. And, man, it was I just the talent level of everybody was hilarious. I can't remember where, if it was in London, Germany, or somewhere. But I think about that all the time. And Sean Payton, I'm sure if they'd let him design the offense, he'd have tore that league up too. So
yeah, no doubt.
But it is amazing what he does for as long as he has, and how he can get the quarterback, no matter who. It's like I said they said something. I go, wait, how did Teddy Bridgewater do? Oh, yeah, he did pretty well, didn't he? Every year you look at it, if somebody comes in for Drew Brees over his career down in New Orleans, the quarterback has come in for him and played well.
Yeah.
So that has a lot to do with, of course, Sean Payton.
Right.
All right. I think we hit it all. I don't think we have any more use to you.
Easy. That's too easy.
No,
That's
1 second.
What?
Listen, coaching,
Yeah.
game management,
Right.
matters.
the Jets.
Yeah.
Bill Parcells always said the owners can count the people in the stands, and they can count till 11.
Yeah.
They had 12. They got away with it. At the end of the game, the Patriots played the clock. It was a coaching clinic on how to use the clock.
Yes, it was.
You know, he didn't call the timeout. Oh, should they call a timeout? No. Run the quarterback sneak, spike the ball, get your one play, call the timeout right out of the book.
Right.
And the Jets come out there. They complete a short pass. He takes a sack. Then they throw an incompletion. You just couldn't do it any worse.
No, you could not.
And not only that, after the completion, here's the big thing. You got to do both. Try to win the game, but make sure they don't get a chance to win.
Exactly, right.
And I think Joe Flacco snapped the ball with 19 seconds to go.
Jeez.
On the play clock as it's running.
You know, I need to look at that, but I think you're right. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, I am right.
Yeah.
But that
He doesn't need your confirmation.
somebody, like, whose fault is it, Christopher? Is it the coach or the quarterback? I mean, if Joe Flacco's never been taught this in his career, then what the hell these coaches been doing?
Well, yeah.
I mean, that'd be the first thing in my mind. Okay, we got to make sure we manage this thing here. At worst, we want to go into overtime. So really, just wow, a terrible, terrible job by the Jets. And you see that New England needed every single second because, my God, the way they're playing, they got to almost play perfect to win the game.
You're right. I mean, we're about to talk to that game in a minute, but I mean, Cam Newton was borderline perfect, and they barely won.
Was 2 weeks in a row. That's right. Oh, Cam's really slipping. He's been almost perfect the last 2 weeks. Oh, he tripped, and then I had some guy at Showtime go, well, he missed that throw down. I said, oh, please, get out of leave. Don't even look at me. I mean, he's 22 of 24, and he throws one because he had to be a little careful on the throw, which, I thought Brian Grease did a great job of describing
it. Right.
But, he missed that open throw. Okay, you and I are done. He's a good friend of mine, so I can say it. So, hey, great stuff. Hey, Christopher.
Yeah.
Good luck on this list.
Thanks,
Paul. Paul, if I get to come on with you guys soon, I want you to read me some of the tweets. I want to hear it.
Don't worry.
Okay.
All right,
Dad, you guys have a great day.
Thanks.
Okay.
See ya.
That was a good segue. Dad knew we were talking Cam next.
Your dad liked what Cam did. I know you do as well. 27 out of 35, 274. Didn't turn it over either.
Didn't turn it over. Ran a different offense than he ran, in every other start the whole year. You didn't see them get into like shotgun, fake speed sweeps, any of that in this game.
You've been waiting for the McDaniels-Belichick scheme factor to come into play.
Well, I was wondering where it would go or what the next phase was going to be if they were going to stay in the shotgun and do that kind of stuff with the cam runs and the speed sweeps and all that kind of stuff. But, I think they realized, one, we can't kill this guy and run him 12 and 15 times between the tackles every week. It's not like he's Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray and it's on the edge because he runs 4.3 and 4.2. No, he's not that fast like that. So I think they probably worried about that to a degree where they were beating him in the ground. Hey, he might be our quarterback next year. Let's make sure he can play. I think that's part of it. And then I think they also realized, listen, we can't live in this offense forever. We're going to have to kind of push him a little bit to start getting into the drop back nuances of our team and all those type of things. And I think that was a big step for them in this football game. But, to echo what my dad said, I would say the same thing. It was almost a perfect football game. And I don't know if there was ever more pressure on him in his life. I'm not even joking. I felt like, I said this on the Tuesday show, I felt like you could see it on his face in certain situations. This was a big point of his career. And he answered the bell because he had the ball 4 times in the second half, scored all 4 times. Really, his last 5 times with the ball, he drove them down to score it. They kneeled on the ball before the end of the first half was over, but that drive before that, they had gone down to kick a field goal as well. So he executed with not a lot of talent and really just him making the right play and him making the right damn throw just about every time.
Think about what a major thing that is to say about this quarterback and that offense. A couple weeks ago, I was thinking about ways to point out to tee up on how much they've been struggling. And I think I said they had 1 touchdown drive in the previous 1 out of 20 drives was a touchdown drive. So the fact that you're now saying this, I know it's against the Jets, but what a giant step in the right direction.
Yeah, and the Jets defense is not cupcake. It's not. I mean, they've given, we saw what Josh Allen and them couldn't score a touchdown against them a few weeks ago. They're well coached and a little bit better talent than we give them credit for on that side of the ball. Let alone we know, the Patriots don't have great talent. And the Jets showed no fear of their receivers. The Jets were not, going to let them just totally run them over in the run game. It was a lot of run-heavy fronts and one-on-ones outside. They kept it simple on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, it was elementary New England pass offense. But either way, I really don't think he missed a read or made an inappropriate throw other than 2 drives in the first half where he had a 3rd and 6 one time and a 3rd and 5 where he could have pushed the ball down the field. It was 7-3 at one moment. It was 3rd and 6, second quarter, 7-3 Pats, own 23. He had a corner route by the slot receiver to his left. He never really got his eyes there. He went to the check down from the get-go. I don't know what it was, if he wasn't sure about what his read was or anything like that. But that was wide open 50-yard game, and they can't pass that up. So that was one area where I just go, man, all right, come on. The protection was good. I don't know what he was looking at. I really don't. And then he had a 3rd and 5. It was 10-7 Jets now. This is the next drive. And he threw that low ball to the receiver on a 3rd and 5. He got tackled just short of the first down. And the next play was a 4th and 1, and they didn't get it. But that was a play where they had like the fullback, the tight end, and the receivers basically in a bunch. And the Jets messed it up on who to cover who. And the tight end ran a corner route scot-free. And he had kind of already made his mind up. He was going to throw to the receiver. So it tells me he's still learning the offense. The offense, because I saw repeat schemes and repeat plays, it tells me that he does not have full grasp of it. If you heard what Brian Griese said, and Cam Newton admitted it on the Monday Night Telecast, that, the first few weeks he thought he had a feel for the offense, but then he realized that when they started to expand it, that he didn't really grasp the offense. He had grasped what he had to do. And some of the plays that they had orchestrated around him, but didn't really understand the full language of the offense yet.
Do you still recognize things you see based off of your time there coaching in that building?
Well, definitely. Yes. For sure. And that's why I know, like, the plays they picked are like, it's the first week of training camp. In fact, they wouldn't even run some of those plays with Tom Brady. They'd be like, you ran that play back in 2003. We're going to go to the next phase. You'll get everybody right at the huddle. That's where they miss here, too.
Yeah.
So they don't have talent. And then because guys are young and, Cam Newton's learning an offense that is like hieroglyphics to him right now. And the New England offense, I'm just telling you, is the most complicated offense in football. It's why it's great, but it's why it takes a little time to implement and get going in certain places. There's so many rules and so many formations and so many little intricacies. And that's where Brady and McDaniels and Belichick were right. They can't take advantage of that yet because not everybody knows the offense that way.
Yeah.
But this was a good start.
If you can give just, and whether it's a formation terminology, just one layman's example of what makes it the most difficult, complex offense.
Gosh, there's just, I think the biggest thing is, the way they design the drop back pass game. I don't want to get too intricate here or give up anything, but
we don't have a clicker and a lot of.
I know, and I don't want to get, but they're just about the majority of their drop back pass plays have an answer for every coverage, and I think that's where I think you and I and a lot of teams in football are still doing 2 plays at the line of scrimmage. Oh, they're in this coverage. Let's just get to this play now. You call that play. We like that play versus this coverage. Where New England would just go up to the line a lot of times and just go, no, we don't care what coverage you play. We've put in a play where we've studied you all week, and we think this play will be good against everything you do, unless it's maybe some crazy blitz, and then you'd hear Brady go, alert, 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 or something like that, right? There's, of course, some third down situations where they might have 2 plays called. But that, to me, is the biggest thing. The offense all-purpose. So many offenses, it's 2 deep, call this play. Oh, it's 1 deep, call this play. New England is not like that, especially in the drop-back pass game. Or most drop-back pass teams in the NFL will go, hey, if it's 2 deep, play this side. If it's 1 deep, play this side.
In a way, though, doesn't that put less on the quarterback at the line of scrimmage and make it easier for him if the play called should work no matter what?
That's exactly right. It's exactly right. Now, the problem is, can the coaches design those plays so that they have to do that?
Yeah.
And that's where the hard work is done. But and that's why Omaha Blue Go. It became a thing because it started in New England, not with Peyton Manning, but because they would call these plays. Brady would get up to the line of scrimmage. He knows the play's all purpose. He just got up there to make sure, wait, are they bringing that crazy blitz that coach told me I have to check out if we do that? Oh, no. Okay, let's forget the whole snap count thing. I don't have to go through blue 80, said, huh? He just go, Omaha Blue Go, because they go, we like it. We like our play. Let's go. Let's enforce our tempo on that defense. Let's not them sit there and think about, when they're in this formation, they like to do this and this and this. But the plays are all purpose. And even if let's say there's a receiver to the left and 3 receivers to the right, Brady, many a times, he would look to his left knowing that really wasn't the route for that coverage. But he was told to look there because now it's going to open up everything else as you go across the board. And we're going to bring things that are going to make sense with this coverage and route combinations and all that. And that's where they're special, if that made sense. That was a lot of talk there.
No, that's, I put you in a little bit of a bad spot because it's the kind of thing that needs to be drawn up to really understand.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here listening just like everybody else.
Or they have plays where they can't be wrong. That's the other thing, too. That's where, the Edelman factor comes in. The jerk route. It's like, hey, we're going to run this play against this coverage. Now, we have another concept over here in case they don't run this coverage, right? So where, okay, Tom, we want you to hit this. But now they've run this coverage, and Edelman, it's all on you to read and make this guy wrong, and Brady will read it the right way, and they're always wrong.
Yeah.
Or they might have a post down the middle of the field, and if there's a single safety, he runs a corner. But if it's two safeties, he runs the post. So then they call a play-action pass, and you're like, well, the defense coordinators are breaking them down and go, I don't know if they were going to run the corner or the post. I can't get a feel on it. No, you're never going to be right. It's going to be off of your coverage every time. That's where they're amazing.
It doesn't sound very coach-friendly when you think about what they have to do during the week and what they figure out.
It's a
maybe
grind.
Quarterback-friendly on Sunday.
It is.
It sounds like that's the ultimate goal.
My experience in it with Josh McDaniels for 1 year, I love the offense. I love it. It just lets you play football a lot of the time instead of always going like, let me think about this.
Just run the play.
And just run the play.
If you're protected, run the play.
Taught me how to run this play.
Yeah. And
I'm going to execute that. Yeah.
Staying power to catch Buffalo and Miami, you think?
No, probably not. I don't think they're going to die. They're not going to die easily.
Right.
It's not a good matchup versus Baltimore, certainly. But, with like my dad said, with the way they manage the games and Cam playing pretty damn good right now and their run game, and let's not forget, no Edelman, no N'Keal Harry, and no the best corner in football maybe. And that's another big thing too. That's a ripple effect of, now J.C. Jackson had to cover the number 1 guy. Now they have a lesser guy in the number 2 and a lesser guy in the number 3, where it's usually Gilmore on 1, J.C. Jackson on 2, and you can survive that way. So that was big. But either way, I thought it was a phenomenal game by Cam Newton.
Yeah, at the very least, they're going to be a headache for some teams.
Yes, exactly right.
As we get to the end of the season.
Exactly right.
You mentioned Baltimore. That's who they play coming up this Sunday night. And if you're ready to move on past the Pats.
Yep, I'm ready.
Talk about the Ravens here a little bit. They bounce back after that game against Pittsburgh, and they knock off Indianapolis. Very good defense there. Always questions, about the offense, I feel like, now. It started last year when they took the big dip in the playoff loss against Tennessee, and they've taken a step back, too. It was better this past weekend than it was the weekend before. But they're not scoring like they did last year.
Nope.
They're not putting up as many yards. And I got a couple questions here from social to get to. At Ricky, SC823 says, here's a question for you, Chris.
Yeah.
Is Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator, overrated? I'm asking sincerely because I feel like his offense continually reaches its limit at the same point with each quarterback.
Yeah, well, it's a very good assessment by him. It's not overrated when you talk about the run game. He's very creative that way. I think if you ask me in my heart of hearts, I'd go, I wish Baltimore would bring in a pass game coordinator or somebody else to give more ideas there. That, to me, is one of the issues. It's where, on the Monday podcast, I talked a little bit because, last week I was one of those guys that questioned Lamar in the pass game. Can they do that? And I didn't like that I did that. I think to be fair, too, it's not always about Lamar. Are they delivering, a respectable product for him to throw the ball to open receivers all the time, too? And I think there's a lot of issues there as well, and it is simple, and it doesn't always lend itself to great throwing numbers in that way, and I think that is a very good question by our listener there.
So as it relates to this game, 24-10 over the Colts, what did you see from Lamar in that offense?
Well, the Colts were all over the run game, especially early, definitely, and the Colts are a hard team to get big pass plays against. But, man, really, his throwing he was 19 out of 23. Right, and I wrote down he had 2 on-target drops too.
That's right.
Yeah. So you can really sit there and go 21 out of 23. And again, this is some magical game, but I think the thing was I wanted to evaluate Lamar and get a look here, and let's talk about it because he's become his talking project. Lamar's throwing is good enough for them to go to the Super Bowl. His throwing. The question doesn't need to be, is Lamar Jackson's throwing good enough? The question needs to be, is the Baltimore Ravens pass attack diverse enough and get people open and use the receivers enough to where they'll be able to deliver? I really don't question Lamar a whole lot. I know it's not perfect, but I just thought really he managed the game the right way during it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lot of just wow throws, but it was, hey, this guy realizes his defense is slowing Rivers down. He realizes they're not going to give up big plays. And he really stayed in the pocket, went through reads, and made a lot of nice 5 to 10 to 12-yard throws throughout the game. At least that's the way I looked at it.
Looked like he managed that game plan really, really well.
Agreed.
And I'm looking at one other question here that really fits into what you just mentioned about you're not questioning Lamar, you're questioning maybe a little bit more about the passing offense and the scheme.
Yeah.
Garnett West asked, what is stopping the Ravens offense from going vertical with the passing game? I understand the defenses are trying to keep everything underneath, but at the same time, I wonder why we don't take shots deep to give a more honest look.
Yeah, I think that's I think that has to happen. As I watched the game, one of the things I wrote was like, wait, they're playing an 8-man front, the Colts. At what point are we going to have some cool play actions and throw behind these linebackers and stress them out? Darius Leonard and those guys are all over the run game. What point are we going to go, hey, whoa, play action, whoa, 20. You know what they did? First play of the second half, wide open over the middle. They need to be better at marrying their play action game to their run game. And when I say that, to me, too much of their play action game is, he just rides the running back, but the line is like in pass pro mode. It's not making it look exactly the same to where you're always making it hard on the second level. Middle linebackers, they're reading guards and things like that. So if you run a play action pass with a pulling guard, man, I don't know of too many linebackers who can't not bite the hook on that.
It seems like an easy fix. Why wouldn't they change that?
I don't know. And again, I think sometimes it's hard to coach up pass protection that way. It is because, again, you got a pulling guard and you got to make sure you get everybody matched up the right way and do all of that. But this is a little bit, I think, of the negative part of Greg Roman. I'll say another thing, too, that I think at times just hurts them on an overall look where it just a little thing about their offense. Why are they always so condensed? Why? That's where I want to know too.
You're talking about formation?
Yeah, formations. Everybody's in a tight. It's always tight end, fullback, receivers really close. And I understand that puts some people with the run and the bootlegs and things like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, look at Arizona. They spread you out all the time.
Yeah.
And then they make it really hard. Wait, that linebacker, do you want to move out and cover the slot? Or do you want to come in here and stop the run? Oh, and now you've spread the field out for the quarterback a little bit to where Kyler Murray can run around all this. Well, Lamar's that guy too. And I think to our listeners' question, there needs to be a little bit more of an emphasis on finding ways not to necessarily be bombs away, but take some shots and like I always say, play action. Oh, it's Hollywood, one-on-one on this guy, 20-yard out route. Our guy's better than your guy. That's it. It doesn't need to be overly complicated when they have that offensive line and that run game.
Knee-jerk reaction to this question. Do you think the more conservative nature, and they're not taking shots downfield, they're not spreading people out, is to protect a lack of playmakers out wide, or do you think they're protecting Lamar?
No, I think it's more of a lack of playmakers out wide. Again, I don't think Hollywood Brown's been as good as they want him to be. He's a small guy. They got to create space for him. If he's a guy that's just going to line up there all the time and try to run routes that way, if somebody jams him, it's over. He is, that's the difference between a Hollywood Brown small and a Tyreek Hill small. Yeah. Tyreek Hill's small, but he's got this density and this thickness.
He could win out wide maybe more than Hollywood.
Definitely. Hollywood has too many plays where I see people get the hand on him and they go, it's over.
Like a slot guy.
It's over. He's not going to go anywhere. And Lamar has to move on somewhere else. So, they have to do that. But that was one thing that really jumped at me. I wrote, man, they stress the second level in the run game as good as anybody in football. They do nothing to stress it in the pass game. And I think that is something that could help them start to find plays over the middle to Hollywood Brown, down the field, and everything like that.
And numbers are misleading, and the bottom line is that they're winning a lot. But I did not expect at this point in November to look down or to look up the total offense and see Baltimore 23rd.
It is surprising. Now, it's the NFL, as we know, and teams, they spent time on Baltimore last year.
Clearly.
They definitely did. That caught the league by surprise last year. So anybody who had the Ravens on the schedule this year, which that, as the year ends, I think they've figured out a few ways. You look at teams who defended them well last year and do those things. And, let's not forget, too, They've played some pretty good defenses this year, too, who have slowed their attack down.
So if teams are looking at this offense based off of what they did last year and had so much success with, and they're saying, we're not going to let them beat us this way. What is that this way that they're taking away a little bit better this fall as opposed to last year?
I think it's just people are selling out for the run more. And that's where I go. I just think the play-action game needs to go to another level. It can't be so basic that way. But I've seen it a number of times this year, where I talked about the Steelers last week having moments of just going, we dare you to throw it.
Right.
The Chiefs did the same thing. We dare you. We're giving you the best look ever. Throw it. What are you going to do? Because one, they're not scared of their schemes or anything like that, too. Like, it's not a team where when you play them man, they don't have great pick plays, out on the edge between the slot receiver and the outside receiver. They don't have great pick plays going across the middle, too.
Right.
So there's elements of that to where I think, the team isn't scared of their talent. They don't think Lamar's proven that he can carry it on the right shoulder of throwing the football. And then I also think they go, and they do nothing schematically that really is like stressful to us if we do play man-to-man. So let's take it and let's go all out on stopping the run. And I think that's what has led to, them not being quite as impressive.
Colts defense has been really good all season. Let's give them a little bit of love. Right?
They are good. I mean,
all the time.
All the time. It's one of the best defenses of football. DeForest Buckner deserves to be in the NFL defense MVP conversation. I don't know what his stats are. I don't give a damn. I just know every week when I watch games, he's everywhere.
Right.
He is, up there in the play up category as far as Chris Simms is concerned. And Darius Leonard, I wrote in my notes, and I don't know if you saw this. I wrote it's the first linebacker I ever saw that had no fear of Lamar Jackson in space. None. He was the first guy ever I saw at a linebacker who was like, ooh, it's Lamar and Darius Leonard in the open. And he was just like, okay, which way do you want to go?
Yeah.
I'm going to wait, and then when you do it, I'm gonna get you. Mm-hmm. And he did. I mean, he's phenomenal. I mean, I don't know. He might be the best middle linebacker in football. I know there's somebody else I said that in that category a few weeks ago too, but he's up there in that
Fred
combo.
Warner, maybe?
It was Fred Warner. They're a very similar player. Same kind of guy. Fly around like their ass is on fire. They just hit anything that moves, and they can do it all.
You used to say rockets up his ass.
I know.
Now it's, did you just say?
Ass is on fire? I usually leave rockets up the ass for guys who carry the football and run the football.
Or catch it. Yeah. Okay.
All right, I think we got it all in.
We hit that one.
Yep.
Bringing us to.
It was impressive, though, with Lamar.
Right.
He played the game the right way. I think there's something to be said about that.
Yeah, and like I said, when I say someone managed the game well and we were over 80%, that's a pretty good compliment.
No doubt.
Yeah. Quarterback Jeopardy.
All right.
Jeopardy's a little bit different this week, as we talked about. Pittsburgh unbeaten. It is the Steelers' version of this because they're the only unbeaten team. And out of respect to Alex Trebek, who hosted Jeopardy 37 seasons, passed away earlier this week, we're going to have each answer must be presented in the form of a question.
Okay.
You got that?
Yes. Let's see. I hope you can do it. Or I hope I can do it.
That's right. It's on you.
It's me.
Okay. Here we go. Steelers' version for 100 points. Ben Roethlisberger has won 2 Super Bowls. The second came in Super Bowl 43 over Kurt Warner and the Cardinals. His first came in Super Bowl 40 against this QB.
Matt Hasselbeck. What is Matt Hasselbeck?
Or who is?
Or who is Matt Hasselbeck?
What is he?
He is. He's a human. He's white, and he's from the Boston, Massachusetts area.
One of these times, Pete, he's going to miss a 100.
I don't know, and Matt Hasselbeck and his brother, right? His dad, Don Hasselbeck, played tight end on the Giants.
Oh, that's right.
He was there for, I think, 2 seasons.
Yeah.
When I was a young kid, we had a few moments in the locker room together, and they're great guys, the Hasselbecks. They really are.
And I think one of them may be living down in your neck of the woods.
He was around here. I think they moved.
Oh, they moved. Okay.
I think they moved somewhere.
After you came to town?
Probably. They were like, all right, there goes the neighborhood. Let's get out.
All right, 200. In 1997 and 1998, this quarterback started every game for the Steelers. He had a distinct nickname and threw one of the most famous collegiate touchdown passes of our lifetime.
Okay. Who is Cordell Stewart?
2 for 2.
I did panic, but I can still remember sitting on the couch watching Michigan and Colorado with my mom.
I know.
I can still remember it.
I think he threw it 70-plus,
I think he threw it 70-plus, went off the guy, the other guy's arms, he runs it. That was amazing. That really was. That's amazing memory.
1994,
Ooh, wow.
We played at Colorado in 92, and he was splitting time with Coy Detmer.
Ooh.
And they had first-round picks everywhere on that team.
That's right. I forgot Coy was there.
Who was it? Coy was there.
I know. I forgot he went to school there.
Yeah, and he played in the NFL for a long time.
A long time.
Held kicks for the Eagles for forever.
Right.
All right, 2 for 2, pal. 300. Ben Roethlisberger famously had a 13-0 regular season, a record his rookie season.
Right.
The original plan was to have him learn from the sidelines, but he took over in Game 3 from this former first-round pick.
Oh, gosh. Who is Maddox?
He had a first name.
I know he did. Damn, what the hell is... What is Maddox's name? Oh, man.
Pete says not Greg.
I mean, that was one of the dumbest draft picks in the history of football. The Broncos took him when Elway was in his
92.
prime.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, they were mad at Elway.
Yeah. Out of UCLA.
Greg Maddox? Nick Greg? What the hell? I can't remember Maddox, his first name.
Hashtag.
Tommy Maddox.
There you go. Tommy Maddox.
There it is. I get it.
It counts.
I get it.
It counts. That
Thank
counts.
you. I mean, don't you two start on me. This ain't actually Trebek, all right? All right? And this ain't actually Jeopardy, all right? I got Maddox. That's good
We'll
enough.
give you 3 for 3. All right, things are going to get really interesting here. Okay, for 400.
Yep.
In 1977, this former Big Ten quarterback went undrafted and then made the Steelers roster as a defensive back and went on to lead that team in interceptions in 1978.
Tony Dungy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not me.
Bam.
I'm not that old.
I know.
I never played DB. Yeah.
I know it. I mean, of course, because I work with Tony.
Yeah.
And he's about a few weeks ago, it came up on a Sunday where he was leading the team in interceptions, and I was like, oh my gosh, I never realized it was that good. I
know you guys are busy
Tony.
as hell, like doing other things on Sundays, but he and I did a Notre Dame game together last month or earlier this season, and we ended up having some time, just two of us hanging out. His stories between playing quarterback in the Big Ten, playing for that Steelers team, and then being defensive coordinator for that team when he was like 28 are unbelievable.
Let alone when you start to get into the Peyton Manning,
oh my gosh,
Warren Sapp stories and everything like that.
Yeah.
He's seen it all. And I don't know.
If he's ever here during the week.
Between Dungy and Tirico, I don't know if there's better humans on earth. It's it's a fight every week. It's like I walk into the room every week and I go, okay, I guess I'm the low asshole on the book.
No moral compass on that set at all, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty good people you're hanging out with. Okay, you're 4 for 4. Pete, have we been 4 for 4 in this situation before?
I think we have maybe one
no.
time. No, maybe. I think one time. Okay.
Pete says maybe once. I'm going to say I don't think so. Okay, 500. And this is Pete's question. It's tough. It's very tough. These two future Hall of Fame QBs were both drafted by the Steelers in a 3-year span from 1955 to 1957. Neither ever won a game for Pittsburgh. I'll read it again. These two future Hall of Fame QBs were both drafted by the Steelers in a 3-year span from 55 to 57. Neither ever won a game for Pittsburgh.
Wow.
I would not have gotten this. I would have gotten one of them. I didn't know about the other guy.
I know. This is interesting. Let me just think about it a little bit. I mean, it's not like Bobby Lane or anything like, no.
Let's say one of these guys was drafted in the 9th round at 55 and waived that summer. The other was the 5th overall pick in 1957. He went 0-1 as the starter.
Johnny Yu?
No. There you go. Johnny Yu's one of them.
He got one of them.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to get the other one. I'm not. But so give me some hints.
I'll give you some hints.
I won't say it counts. I lose.
Sure.
I got Johnny Yu.
Okay. The other one played in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Not at a Michigan, Ohio State kind of school. Played at a school where they actually turned out a lot of quarterbacks.
Len Dawson?
There you go.
Len Dawson got drafted by Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Len Dawson.
No idea.
5th overall pick in 57.
No, I don't know if I've ever known that. So, I mean, I got it because of your hint. Well, Unitas thing, he was one I thought I remembered, but man.
Matt Casey steps in. Yeah, and also, anecdotally, Dawson, that famous picture of him smoking a cigarette at halftime of the Super Bowl.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
Come on. It doesn't get any better than that. I know.
Well, I think that's it, Pete. I think he nailed all 5.
Well, not really. I got 450 out of 500 possible points. Yeah.
Between the Greg Maddox instead of Tommy Maddox and the almost getting Lenny Dawson, we'll give you 450 out of 500.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Well done.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah,
man.
Good job.
All right, buddy.
All right.
All right, that's it. Another one in the books. That's the Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast, What the Happened edition. All right, and yes, that's Paul Burmeister. He tried to dress like me today, but we had a lot of fun. We definitely did. I hope everybody enjoyed. Tomorrow, we got the Chris Simms Unbuttoned PFT PM Joint Picks collaboration. Ooh, I didn't have a good week. I had a good week picking the game straight up. Best bets against the spread.
Yeah.
Negative Ghost Rider. Again, I am not Johnny the Shark, but if you want to hear interesting tidbits about the games and angles that you might not know, I'm your guy. That's what my friends do. They go, oh, you're the worst bettor ever, but I like your information, and then I figure out where to bet. And
I'm not Johnny the Shark, but I am your guy.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not Johnny the Shark, but I'm your Johnny the Football Shark. As far as football X's and O's, I got you there.
If I ever start wearing high-top basketball shoes, then you know I've gone to the other side and straight up copy.
Yep, you might get one for Christmas then.
Yeah.
All right, peace out. You the man. We'll see you next week. See you tomorrow. Check out PFT PM, Chris Simms Unbuttoned Picks Podcast.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.